Hi, I'm Callum,
And I'm Phoebe. We're both from the Centre for Energy Equality.
and today we're going to talk about some common myths and misconceptions that people have about heating and ventilating their home.
Should I turn my radiators off in unused rooms?
It's generally a good idea to turn them down but not off. You want to keep the temperature in an unused room above 14 degrees because any lower can lead to condensation, damp and mould.
What about keeping the heating off and having a hot shower instead?
So heating hot water is much more expensive than heating the air in your home. So it's generally a good idea to keep your showers brief and use your heating effectively.
Should I use electric heaters in some of the rooms instead of the central heating system?
Using electric heaters exclusively is normally much more expensive than running the central heating. That's because electricity is much more expensive than gas. Heat pumps are only cheaper, even though they run on electricity, because they're much more efficient than gas boilers. So you don't want to use electric heaters on their own, and you certainly don't want to leave all your rooms, any of your rooms, unheated, because that can lead to damp.
Is it better to keep my heating on low all the time, even when I'm out of the house?
That's a common misconception. It's much more efficient to turn the heating down when you're not in the house, rather than to turn it off, because that can lead to problems. So simply turn it down when you're not in, turn it back up when you come home.
So I've got damp. Is a dehumidifier the best way to get rid of it?
So a dehumidifier is probably the most expensive way of trying to get rid of damp. They're expensive because they run on electricity and they create a load of heat. A much more cost-effective way of reducing your damp problem is to ensure adequate ventilation.
Is it best for me to keep my windows and my trickle vents closed so that I can keep the heat in the house?
We need a balance between heating and ventilation. We can't keep the place airtight because then we'll cause condensation, damp and mould. So it's a balance between ventilation and heating.
So I understand that I need to ventilate my home, but if it's wet outside, will opening my windows bring the damp in?
So in general, it's always better to have more ventilation than less in your home. So open the windows even though it's damp outside, and under most circumstances, that's not going to make it any damper indoors.
Thanks, Colm, that's been really helpful.
No problem at all.